to represent God, even in that adverse situation and circumstance. So, their haters got together and said, look, they're doing everything right. So we can't accuse them as far as their performance, but I know how we can get them. Let's accuse them. We have to get them with something that relates to their God. That's what they really want. That's what the people you think are your friends, that's what they really want. They want to get you to go against your God, because they don't really like the fact that you're saved. They don't really like the fact that you're trying to live saved anyway, because they think that you think that you're better than them. So they're going to try to lay some slick traps for you as it relates to your God. That's what happened with these 4 young people. So they tell the king, "Oh, king, live forever. Here's what you should do. You ought to decree something." I'm in the 3rd chapter of Daniel now. Are you tracking with me? All right, I'm in the 3rd chapter of Daniel now. So they tell the king, you ought to make an image, because you're the king. You do what you ought to do. You ought to make an image. And you ought to make a decree that anytime the band strikes up, when the music gets going, that everybody under your realm have to bow down and worship this image that you made. Now these young Hebrew boys understood. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God. Him only shall you serve. They understood, thou shalt have no other God before me. They understood that. So now they're faced with what appears to be a dilemma. Am I going to go against God just to save my life? Am I going to go against God? Verse 15 of chapter 3, the king is talking. He's talking to these young people. I wonder how many courageous young people are in here. Quiet. Are there any courageous young people in here? All right. Well, maybe when you see how the story ends, you might get some courage. God can. Now, just let me say this. Peer pressure back then is the same peer pressure as it is right now. It's not harder now than it was back then. Same enemy was back then is the same enemy now. But more importantly, same God back then, same God now. I hear the Bible say that God is looking. He's looking for someone to show himself strong on their behalf. But will you have the courage to take a stand for God, young or old? But in this particular case, we're dealing with young people. Why? He said in one place, I call the young because they're strong. Anybody in here young or think they're young, raise your hand. You think you're young, or you're young at heart, or you know you're young. All right. Where's your courage? Who has robbed you of your courage? Have the surroundings and the conditions robbed you of your courage? Are you afraid to take a stand for God? I I'm not telling you to beat somebody over the head with what you believe, because they weren't doing that. But when the rubber met the road, they took a stand for God. Who has the courage to say, I'm not doing that? Call me what you want to. They called them out their name, gave them names that they didn't even have. But they still didn't let it stop them from keeping their faith in God. I had a question here. Can the faith you have in God stand up to the challenge? Can the faith that you say you have in God stand up to the challenge? Because challenges will come. They will come. But can the faith that you say you have? Maybe I should have asked this question first. Let me rewind that. How many people have faith in God? Everybody didn't put their hand up. Okay. Can the faith that you have in God stand up to the challenge? All right. It's okay. Maybe you're all thinking today. That's good. All right, let me ask another question. I might get an affirmation. I'm not looking for an affirmation, but I'm trying to get you to think. Can God stand up to the challenge? Yes. All right. Okay. Will God leave you when the challenge comes? No. Do you believe that? Yes. Or are you just saying that because that's what we're supposed to say in environments like this? That's the right thing to say. All right. So here in verse 15 of Daniel chapter 3, believe it or not, I am almost done. Here's the king talking. Here's the king talking. He's talking to these Hebrew young people. Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, dulcimer, or bagpipe, and every kind of music, to fall down and worship the image which I have made. Very good. Now, if you're going to go along with the program, right? Oh, Lord have mercy. Now, this was the government, right? If you're going to go along with the program, we ain't going, I'm going there. We ain't going along with the program. I don't care what they legislate. We ain't going along with it. I said, you've heard me say publicly that I wasn't going back to jail. But I may have to. I may have to. I don't want to go. But if I have to go, I ain't going by myself. That's bold. Yeah, well, I'll pray for you, but I ain't going. Okay, well, pray for me then. Pray for me. No. Listen, everybody didn't go to jail. Right? It was some people that stayed out and both prayed. So if I go, for taking a stand for God, make sure if I go, make sure you say, well, why did he go? If I go for something I did, still pray. You understand what I'm saying? But if I go for taking a stand for God, you need to really pray. Because God's going to get some glory out of that situation. Uh-oh. Can't God get you out of jail? Ask Peter. God can. God can send you to jail and get you out of jail and have you say and have you preach to the people who had you in jail and save their whole house. So jail is not a bad place if God sends you. Y'all don't want to receive that. It ain't a bad place if God sends you. The light needs to shine in jail. But y'all gonna say, here am I, send me. You say, there you go, send him. Can God get you out of jail? Yes, he can. But who's willing? Who's willing to say, if I gotta go, I gotta go? I'm not there yet. I know you're not. I know you're not. But somebody's going to have to take a stand. Somebody's going to have. What do we do when we read the 11th chapter of Hebrews and see those heroes of faith? We think that's just good writing? These were these people's lives. If God can deliver them, can he deliver us? God can.